Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about books and I interview published authors about their work and their creative process. So, you are smuggling a human head. What does that mean? Well, firstly, it means that you are traveling. You can't smuggle if you're not traveling. And if you're traveling, you probably want something good to read. So I have selected 4 excellent books to recommend for your specific situation. Before we have a look at my recommendations, please go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons. It costs you nothing, but it does help out the algorithms and helps out this channel, and I thank you in advance for that. And with that preamble out of the way, let's get to it. 4 books to read when you are smuggling a human head. Starting off my list of books to read when you're smuggling a human head, Dermaphoria by Craig Clevenger. Now, in my opinion, Craig Clevenger is one of the best writers working today. I am baffled that he is not more talked about, more widely read, and more famous than he is. His writing is gorgeous. His books are gripping. They have an anti-establishment, anarchist vibe to them, much like Chuck Palahniuk, the writer of Fight Club. And he's super famous. I don't know why Craig Clevenger isn't also. If you like Chuck Palahniuk, you're going to love Craig Clevenger. He has 3 books out. Dermaphoria, published in 2005, is his second. It's about a chemist. He developed a new drug that he calls Dermaphoria, and he blew up his lab, maybe. Intentionally or accidentally, we don't know. The protagonist doesn't know either. Rival drug dealers are after him for his formula, or he worked for some nefarious people who are after him for some money he owes. He's not sure. The book starts off right after the explosion when he's trying to piece his memory back together. So he's fueled by paranoia and confusion, which further fuels his paranoia. And the book wastes no time getting into it. We start off with a bang and we're off, and it is quite a ride. Now, if you're smuggling a human head, you are bound to experience some paranoia. It comes with the territory. There's no way around it. You're sitting there on the train or the bus, and you've got your duffel bag with the human head in it, and you think all the passengers are staring at you, right? You see the guy in the suit, and he glances at your duffel bag, and you're thinking, he's got to be a cop, right? You might even get so paranoid that you think you can hear the human head breathe from inside the duffel bag. It sounds crazy, but it happens. It's nothing you can do about it. What you don't want to do is you do not want to go full-on telltale heart on the train and rip open the duffel bag and pull out the severed head, shouting, "Yes, yes, it's a human head. Why does its heart not stop beating? Why does it not stop?" Right? The other passengers, while they might appreciate the literary reference, it's not going to go over well. Nobody wants that. The guy in the suit's not a cop. He's just trying to get to the printers and scanners sales convention, which he's not looking forward to. Inevitably, he's going to run into William Shrine, who's always drunk by 4 p.m., going on about the good old days. But those days weren't so good, were they? What you want to do instead is you want to fight the paranoia. You want to resist the impulse to go full-blown telltale heart on the train. And you'll want to get immersed in a good book. And Dermaphoria is just that, immersive. right from the first page, you are going to be so interested and invested in the protagonist's paranoia that you won't even notice your own. Excellent read. I highly recommend. Next on my list of books to read when you are smuggling a human head, Frenchman's Creek by Daphne du Maurier. Now, I love me some Daphne du Maurier, most famous for Rebecca and Jamaica Inn and her short story, The Birds, all of which were made into movies by Alfred Hitchcock, coincidentally. And they're all great reads, but when you are smuggling a human head, I think Frenchman's Creek is the one for you. Published in 1941, Frenchman's Creek is about this wife. She's married to a rich, boring Englishman, and he sends her to their home in the British countryside because she's being too rowdy in London, and she's embarrassing him and embarrassing his rich, stuffy friends. So she's in the British countryside, and she's bored. And her husband comes by with his friends, and they start complaining about the latest news in the region, which apparently there's a pirate in the area who's causing mischief and stealing their things. And worse than that, the pirate is French. I'll share a quote from the book said by one of the rich, stuffy friends of the protagonist's husband. No lives have been lost as yet, and none of our women have been taken. But, as the fellow is a Frenchman, we all realize that it is only a question of time before something dastardly occurs. So this bored wife leaves her husband and his friends, and she goes out for a walk. And what does she discover? But the secret hideout of the pirate. And she decides that she's entitled to a bit of adventure, a bit of thrill in her life. So she makes the pirate's acquaintance, as it were. Now, if you're smuggling a human head, let's face it, you are a sort of pirate in a way. You might even be French, too. I'm not judging. It happens to the best of us. Frenchman's Creek is a thrilling book of adventure and romance, made all the more thrilling if you're reading it while being a sort of pirate yourself, like you're smuggling a human head, for example. Next on my list, Disappearance at Devil's Rock by Paul Tremblay. Published in 2016, Disappearance at Devil's Rock won the prestigious August Derleth Award, given by the British Fantasy Society for Best Horror Novel of the Year. Though I'm not sure I would qualify it as a horror novel. It does have some horror elements, but it's more of a mystery thriller, in my opinion. In Disappearance at Devil's Rock, a young boy goes missing, and the story is told from the POV of the mother, who's trying to find out what happened to her son. What I like about Paul Tremblay's writing is that there are supernatural elements, but he'll introduce rational explanations to keep the story more grounded in reality. And it makes for a horror-like vibe, but more realistic and more relatable at the same time. When you are smuggling a human head, you are bound to experience a moment or two when your grasp of reality is threatened. You've got the human head stuffed in a rucksack at your feet, and a few hours go by and you start getting the sense that the head is staring at you from inside the rucksack. Right? You might even think that it's like sending you telepathic messages. It sounds crazy, but it happens when you're smuggling a human head. What you need to remember is that everything's okay. There is a rational explanation for all of this. And that is why when you're smuggling a human head, reading Paul Tremblay is such a good idea. And in particular, I recommend Disappearance at Devil's Rock. And lastly, on my list of books to read when you are smuggling a human head, I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. You're smuggling a human head. You think the head is sending you telepathic messages. You think everyone you pass is some government agent. If you don't get your nose into a good book, pretty soon you're going to start thinking that you're crazy. But you're not crazy. Everything is fine. Everything is going to be all right. You are a good person. You are not crazy. But there is a character in Ian Reid's I'm Thinking of Ending Things who is a legit crazy person. And when you read this book, it's going to spell out what true madness really is. And in comparison, you're going to feel quite good about yourself. And the brief bout with paranoia you're currently struggling with, which will surely pass as soon as you get rid of the human head you're carrying around. I'm Thinking of Ending Things starts off as a sort of relationship drama wherein a couple are driving out to one of their parents' home, and one of them starts thinking that they should probably get out of this relationship. As you read the story, you get a sense that all is not right, all is not what it seems to be. And then at about 2/3 the way through the story, it takes a hard tonal shift and turns into a full-blown horror slasher-like story. Now, normally a tonal shift like this would be jarring for me, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it worked perfectly, and it was legit scary. If I make a video about the scariest books I've ever read, which I might do, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm Thinking of Ending Things figured quite high on that list. It's also a quick read. It's about 240 pages, and it's definitely a page turner. I highly recommend. So that's my list of books to read when you are smuggling a human head. Do let me know what you think of my recommendations. Do you have a recommendation of a book to read when smuggling a human head? If so, please let me know about it in the comments below. And if you like dark fiction, go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. And check out my other videos of book recommendations and interviews with published authors about their work and their creative process. And thank you for watching. I'll see you at the next video.